you don't share what the process is to create the dominant frequency water. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, we don't share it. I'm going to share some of it.
God dang it, Mario.
But you know why? Because we decided not to even patent the whole thing due to the whole patent infringement, or because it would be very hard for anybody to come by it. As I mentioned.
Can you give us a clue?
So we are
magnets,
actually no. This is very interesting. Usually,
what's going on? Give me something. Throw me a bone.
Now you're actually going to touch upon why this water is so special. We actually tested most other devices which create some form of structured water. They usually use either vortexes or magnets or crystals. But we are not using, and usually, just so you know, the water does change and it enters into this coherent state, but it stays in that state anywhere between a couple of minutes and a day and a half. Then the structure breaks and the water goes back to chaos. With NLM water, we actually tested it now for 6 consecutive years after just one treatment. Water never actually went back to chaos.
It's like alpha water. There is no other frequency more dominant.
That's why we called it the mother water, because it has this extraordinary state that just doesn't go back to chaos anymore. Anyhow, it takes 1 full year for us to create the mother water. It has 5 different stages, and we're passing. So we're using more than several things. We're using precious metals, sacred geometry, and we're using lightnings there as well.
Lightning?
I cannot say more, yes. And then when it passes the 5th stage, it never goes back to chaos. And we actually did many things to it. We realized usually that, for instance, EMFs have very detrimental effect on water. And we 5G the crap out of the water, and it actually resisted. So this water truly is, it really is special. It really is special. We're feeling that we're serving it, not the other way around.
Does the fact that it doesn't change have anything to do with the encasement of it in the crystal tube that it comes in, or anything like that? It's just the water itself.
It's the water itself.
So if you poured that water down the drain, would it have some type of like atomic effect and just transform the entirety of Earth's water into this dominant frequency, because it would just come in contact with everything?
It's just a matter of time. So that's why we actually created this eco-friendly, this is our whole mission statement. Now you actually touched upon what we are all about. We actually created this eco-friendly technology that we want to install. That's why we want to bring it to the governmental level. We want to install it in the wells of the biggest rivers, because when the water passes, everything will become coherent, and all of the water down the stream would become coherent. The microbiome of the soil, everything would change. And then all that water would end up in the oceans. And then after a very short period of time, we would have coherent planet. Everything would start to vibrate in entirely different frequencies. So this is our mission statement. This is where we actually want to go.
Aren't you getting a water structuring or coherence from certain things, like going through like a cyclone type thing, or like a babbling brook,
or definitely. Usually back in the day,
through
that's how water
to get spring water.
Yeah. So when water has this left and right vortexes, it keeps the living water in this particular state. And we actually found coherent water, but you really have to go like somewhere outside the civilization, deeply in the jungle. And there you can actually find at the wells coherent water. But as soon as you take it out, in very short period of time, water goes to chaos.
I had Jared Pollock on maybe, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago. So he's, his book is called The Fourth Phase of Water, I believe, right? He's kind of pioneered that concept of this fourth phase. There's not just 3 phases of water, there's 4 phases. How does this compare to that? And can you explain the 4th phase of water, or exclusion zone water? Is there any association between this and that?
Dr. Polak is actually a good friend of ours, and the water community, it's a scientific water community, is actually very small. Everybody knows everybody. So, and we're
Yeah,
constantly
sure.
doing research. So we are friends with Dr. Pollack, and we have great respect for him. He actually came to his exclusions of water in completely different way. So easy water is not the same as NLM water. We're actually comparing the effects any particular water has on biological systems, because we didn't want to stop there. We didn't want to say that, okay, the water changed. We did the whole thing: near infrared, ultraviolet, visual spectroscopy. So we proved that the water changes, but we didn't want to stop there. We wanted to prove what are the actual effects on biological systems. That's why we went into all of these double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. That's why we did studies on animals, and that's why we did studies on plants, to prove the effect of this water on biological systems, not just that the water changed, so to speak.
And what is exclusion zone water? I mean, people can go listen to the whole entire podcast I did with Jared. They want to go deeper into it, but just for contrast and comparison, a device that I have is I own one of those nano V's. You like breathe exclusion zone water vapor, and it's suggested to be supportive with protein folding and things alike in the body. What is that? What's happening there?
So how he came about it, he uses hydrophilic surfaces. Whenever there is a hydrophilic surface, there is going to be exclusion zone where they're going to have kind of a separation in charge between the left and the right side. And right next to the hydrophilic surface, you're going to have this structured water. And what's interesting about it, which I love, is that all the impurities and everything kind of comes to the other side. And there you just have a pure structured or exclusion zone water, how he calls it. This is how he came to it. And then there is a charge. He proved that water actually carries energy. So you have anywhere between 150 and 300 millivolts of energy in water, which is extraordinary. And he proved that you charge it with the sun. So his research is extraordinary and super exciting.